So I'm Callie Beaton, and the easiest way to describe my life is it's effectively split into 4 different quarters, and the first and most obvious one that people know me for is being Callie, a stand-up comedian. So I do comedy gigs up and down the land, do lots over here, and also work a lot on stage in the States, in particular in New York.
Have we got any parents in? Give us a cheer if you've got kids. A few of you, okay. And if you don't have kids, give us a cheer. Do you see how much happier they sound?
I'm also known as somebody who's been in the media industry for 25 odd years now. I'm currently a senior vice president at Viacom International. People don't always know who Viacom are, but they do know the component parts, which are Paramount Pictures, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon. He was actually one of the really big bosses at Viacom in the US. He said, "I've just seen a poster for the finals of a comedy competition at Gotham Comedy. Is that you? Are you Callie Beaton?" Because my corporate name's Caroline Beaton. So then I was thoroughly rumbled, and actually work have been incredibly supportive, and it's become a kind of bit of a standing joke. And I would say that learning to be a stand-up massively ups your game as a public speaker, and when you can cope with being as exposed as you are on stage and talking on stage without anything to fall back on, and you're only as good as your last joke, I think if you can do that, you can certainly address people with other kind of corporate messages. And in fact it was Joan Rivers who told me I should have a go at stand-up. She was the first person who said it. I thought, if Joan Rivers has said it, I'm going to try and do it. So that was a name-droppy way to say that I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of comedians. So for me, I think I've always used comedy in my working life, as well as it being part of what I do in terms of the content of my job. I've also always been quite kind of humorous, and I realised that the public speaking that I do got gradually more comedic. I also have a third professional side of my life, which is working as an executive coach and a trainer. I have a company called Road Trip Media that I've owned and operated for the last 10 plus years. And then the last thing that's a bit harder to find if you do a Google search of who I am is that I'm a single parent of 2 teenagers. And my oldest, I've got a boy and a girl, my oldest is autistic.
I was diagnosed with autism a few years ago, and I could really relate to that when it happened, because at a very early age I was diagnosed as being ginger.
I'm in my 40s now. I can see that everyone here stuns to hear that, but I'm in my late 40s, and I've realised, it's taken me until this decade to realise that when I used to hide the fact I'd feel scared of things, or I'd have that kind of imposter syndrome of thinking I'm going to be found out and I can't do this and everyone else is better than me, I've realised actually that everyone has lots of bits of that in them. And actually when you do comedy, it's the vulnerability that people can relate to. So if you come on stage incredibly confidently as someone who life hasn't given a bit of a kicking to, it's quite hard for an audience to like you and laugh with you. So what I realised quite early on was I had to give people a bit of an insight into quite a hidden bit of myself, which was the bit that was a bit more scared and small and doubting. And interestingly, I also have discovered through that vulnerability, even at board level, it's not a weakness, it's actually a strength. It takes incredible bravery to let vulnerability be seen at work, and I think that is truly inspirational to people. Having gone from someone in the last 15 years who couldn't speak in a room in a public speaking capacity to someone who now does it in front of thousands of people and does stand-up, I know there's no such situation as a no-hoper where public speaking is concerned. So my message is not that I'm a kind of Wonder Woman, but that anyone can absolutely do what I do if they just manage to take the leap.